At what point did you realize Lionel Messi was in a class of his own? You know, a GOAT-level player who'd mastered the game so much, he'd become a legend. For some, it was in 2009 after winning his first Ballon d'Or.
الارجنتيني الاول الذي يحصل على الكرة الذهبية غائب اليوم طبعا عن المباراة بداعي الإصابة، ولكن الآن الأجواء الاحتفالية يسلم على طاقم حكام أو على حكم المباراة السيد جيرالد غونزاليس، ويتلقى بالتالي التحية من القائد بويول.
Others would say it was in 2015 after winning a second treble in 6 years with Barcelona. But what you often hear is Messi really cemented himself as the GOAT back in 2022 after winning football's ultimate prize, the missing piece. To really get why that missing piece mattered so much, you've got to rewind to 1986, back when the legendary Diego Maradona lit up the world and pretty much dragged Argentina to glory. Ever since Messi stepped onto the scene, the comparison started. But there was always one big difference. Maradona had the World Cup. Messi didn't. It wasn't like he didn't come close. In 2014, on Brazil's home soil, Argentina fought their way to the final. They were minutes away from a penalty shootout, but then heartbreak.
Still full of running, and he's got it!
The loss hit hard, and whispers began to grow louder. Could Messi really be called the greatest without that one ultimate win? But before we get into any of that, make sure you hit that subscribe button to the channel down below. For a long time, legends like Pele, Maradona, and even Ronaldo de Lima were seen as a tier above because they had led their countries to World Cup glory. Messi, despite all his individual brilliance, still had that one glaring gap. But then came Qatar 2022, and that's when everything changed.
He's done in his era is way and above probably something we'll never see again.
You see, when the 2022 World Cup kicked off in Qatar, all eyes were on Argentina. The buzz was electric. Fans around the globe were hyped, and many were convinced this was Messi's last real shot at lifting the one trophy that had always slipped through his fingers. La Albiceleste carried the hopes of the nation and millions more worldwide. But just when it seemed like the fairy tale was ready to unfold, reality delivered a gut punch. In their very first game, Argentina were stunned by Saudi Arabia in one of the biggest upsets in World Cup history.
Arabia committing plenty forward here. The strike is decent. And away off Romero from Nawaf Al-Abid.
For Argentina, it was their first World Cup opening match defeat since 1990. And just like in 1990, critics immediately began questioning the squad's strength and Messi's legacy. Could the 7-time Ballon d'Or winner still deliver? Was the dream over before it had even begun?
Surely he could take that responsibility. He could help that team today. He could drive them to victory when they're 2-1 down. He could be that leader that they needed.
There was no time for pity. Next up was Mexico, and another loss meant elimination. Manager Lionel Scaloni rang the changes. 5 in total, including Lisandro Martinez and Alexis McAllister. But even with the new faces, the first half against Mexico was flat. Argentina struggled to build any rhythm, and Messi looked isolated. Mexico had a slight edge, but couldn't do much either. And then came the moment.
Lionel Messi. Messi's hit! Oh! That's what they came for!
Goal number 93 for Argentina, his 8th at a World Cup, and one that tied him with Maradona. That goal didn't just save the game, it reignited a nation. Enzo Fernandez followed it up with a beautiful curler to seal the 2-0 win. Argentina were alive and climbing. With their confidence restored, they went into the final group stage match against Poland with one mission: qualify. And from the very first whistle, they took control. Messi was everywhere, dropping deep, orchestrating attacks, and testing Poland's keeper early on. Alvarez, who started ahead of Lautaro, missed a golden chance, and Marcos Acuna saw a couple of Messi-fed opportunities go begging. But the highlight of the half came when Messi won a controversial penalty, only to be denied by a spectacular save. Despite that miss, Argentina came out flying in the second half. And it took just 60 seconds for Alexis McAllister to finally break the deadlock, poking home Molina's low cross for his first international goal.
Right. Here's Molina to drive it across. Turn towards goal. Alexis McAllister.
And then came Alvarez's moment.
Fernandez. Chance for the shot.
Argentina were rolling. But in the other game, Mexico was doing damage too. They were up 2-0 and just one goal away from knocking out Poland. Suddenly, every missed chance by Argentina felt heavier. Lautaro Martinez squandered a golden opportunity, and Kivlor cleared a Tagliafico shot off the line, keeping Poland's hopes alive by the skin of their teeth. In the end, Argentina topped Group C with 6 points, bouncing back from that humiliating opener with grit and belief. Poland barely held on, advancing by goal difference, while Mexico heartbreakingly bowed out. Next up for Argentina, a round of 16 clash with Group D runners-up, Australia. Now, before facing Australia in the knockout round, Lionel Messi had a strange little stat hanging over his head. He'd never scored in a World Cup knockout stage match. That changed in his 1,000th career game.
McAllister, Messi!
Honestly, that was one of the few bright spots in an otherwise sluggish first half at the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium. Argentina doubled their lead just before the hour mark when Julian Alvarez took full advantage of a defensive slip-up. Australia, who had been playing a disciplined tight game, grabbed a late lifeline in the 77th minute. But that was as close as the Socceroos got. Argentina held their nerve and punched their ticket to the quarterfinals with a 2-1 win, setting up a highly anticipated showdown with the Netherlands. Now, Argentina versus the Netherlands is no casual meeting. These two have serious history. 9 clashes before this one, 5 of them at World Cups. The Dutch had won 4, Argentina only once, while 4 ended in draws. But here's the twist. Argentina won 2 of those drawn matches via penalty shootouts, so there's always been an edge, a lingering tension between them. From the crushing 4-0 win by the Netherlands in 1974 to Argentina's sweet revenge in the 1978 final to Dennis Bergkamp's iconic 1998 quarterfinal goal and that tense goalless draw in 2006, every chapter added more fuel. But the real drama? Well, that came in 2014 when the semifinal went to penalties.
Rodríguez. Jugamos la final del mundo, carajal.
Argentina held firm and edged it out 4-2. Heading into the 2022 quarterfinal, the stakes were sky high, and not just because of the history books. The Netherlands were riding a 19-game unbeaten streak, full of confidence. But the pre-match build-up? Well, that was spicy. Dutch coach Louis van Gaal stirred the pot, praising Messi's brilliance while suggesting he offered nothing defensively, a comment that struck a nerve. And man, did Argentina take that personally. Then came the match, the Battle of Lusail. It had everything: drama, tension, chaos. It felt less like a football game and more like a full-blown blockbuster movie. It took a while to heat up, but in the 35th minute, Messi produced a moment of pure class.
Wriggling away from Ake and fiddling. It's a wonderful Argentina goal. Pounced.
Argentina was up 1-0. Midway through the second half, Acuna was brought down near the box. Messi stepped up and smashed in the penalty, doubling the lead.
Lionel Messi.
Out for more history.
Then came the celebration, Messi cupping his ears and staring down the Dutch bench. Many fans saw it as a callback to Juan Roman Riquelme's famous celebration, especially given Riquelme's complicated history with Van Gaal at Barcelona. And just like that, angry Messi had arrived. Right after the goal, a pitch invader briefly interrupted the madness. Security reacted swiftly, but it didn't stop the rising tension. Yellow cards were flying. The Dutch, desperate, turned to their big man up front, Wout Weghorst. He already had been booked while still on the bench, but now it was his time. And what a twist he brought. Weghorst pulled one back with a thumping header in the 83rd minute.
Berghaus. Weghorst.
Suddenly, the Dutch comeback didn't seem impossible. As the game got more physical, Leandro Paredes escalated things, wildly booting the ball into the Dutch bench after a foul.
Pull away. Ethan Ake chopped down and then it's fired into the Dutch bench, and here we go.
Antonio Matal Lajos handed out a record 16 yellow cards and a red, more than any match in World Cup history. Then came the 100th minute. The Netherlands had one final chance, a free kick just outside the Argentine box. Instead of shooting, Town Koopmeiners cheekily slipped a pass to Weghorst, who ghosted through the wall and coolly slotted home.
Koopmeiners 2-2, extraordinary.
2-2, and the crowd went ballistic. Extra time was gritty, fierce, but goalless. It all came down to penalties. The Dutch blinked first, missing their first two. Argentina converted coolly until they missed their fourth. But when Lautaro Martinez stepped up, he ended it with confidence, sending Argentina through to the semis.
An epic. Lautaro Martinez. Argentina march on.
Awaiting them, Croatia, fresh off stunning Brazil in a penalty shootout of their own. The stage was set for yet another World Cup thriller in the World Cup semifinal. Argentina came into the match red hot, with only one loss in their last 41 international games. That's 28 wins, 12 draws, and a whole lot of momentum. Croatia weren't far behind in form, losing just once in their previous 12 World Cup appearances. These were two teams with everything to play for. Early on, it was tense. Both sides were cautious, not wanting to make the first costly mistake. At one point, Argentina hearts skipped a beat when their captain seemed to tweak his hamstring, but those fears quickly vanished. The moment Argentina found their rhythm, they took over. The breakthrough came in the 32nd minute. Julian Alvarez made a dangerous run and found himself one-on-one with Croatia's wall-in goal, Dominik Livakovic. Alvarez got taken down and the referee pointed straight to the spot. Of course, Lionel Messi stepped up.
He doesn't miss this one.
1-0 to Argentina, and the Lusail Stadium erupted. Just 7 minutes later, Alvarez was back at it. He snatched the ball near midfield and went on a dazzling solo run, bulldozing through 3 defenders before chipping the ball past Livakovic. It was the kind of goal you only score when confidence is sky high. Suddenly, Argentina were cruising with a 2-0 lead by halftime. But Messi and Alvarez weren't done. In the 69th minute, Messi produced a moment of pure magic on the right wing.
The boys need to get around about him. Orsic.
Here comes Messi. Accelerating away from Vardiol. Twisting him, turning him, getting behind him, setting up.
3-0. Game over. Messi's goal and 2 assists that night weren't just another stat line. They cemented his status as Argentina's all-time leading scorer at the World Cup. He also became the oldest player to score 5 goals in a single tournament. This was his 5th time at the semifinals, and for the 6th time, Argentina was heading to the final. But standing in their way, France. The reigning champions, loaded with talent and swagger, looking to be the first team since Brazil in 1962 to win back-to-back titles. And the matchup had history. France had knocked Argentina out in the 2018 World Cup with a thrilling 4-3 win.
Matuidi, good ball, Giroud, helped on here, Mbappe's got another one!
But this wasn't the same Argentina, and this definitely wasn't the same Messi. The final kicked off and it was all Argentina early. In the 23rd minute, Angel Di Maria cut into the box and drew a foul from Ousmane Dembele, and Messi stepped up again.
The focus is on Lionel Messi. Messi scores!
Just over 10 minutes later, Argentina struck again. A beautiful counterattack ended with McAllister feeding Di Maria, who finished it off with style. France looked stunned, but you can never count out Kylian Mbappe. Late in the second half, he flipped the script.
Obliged. France just might. Mbappe. Thuram. Mbappe. Oh, wow!
2 goals in just 97 seconds brought France level. Extra time loomed and both teams were running on fumes. Then, in the 108th minute, it looked like Messi had done it.
Lautaro Martinez, Lionel Messi, Fernandez, Martinez, Messi!
But 10 minutes later, Mbappe answered again with another penalty.
Mbappe. Into the galaxy of greats!
A hat trick in the World Cup final, only the second man in history to do that. And yet, despite all that brilliance, it came down to penalties. Messi went first for Argentina. Years earlier, he'd missed in the Copa America final and nearly walked away from international football. But not this time. One by one, Argentina nailed their spot kicks. France blinked. Emiliano Martinez saved Coleman's effort. Tchouaméni missed, and the final score in the shootout was 4-2. Argentina, at last, were champions again.
Argentina, champions of the world, again, at last! 36.
And Messi? Well, he didn't just win the trophy. He dominated the entire tournament. 7 goals, 3 assists, and a performance in every round, group stage to the final. No player in World Cup history had ever scored in every knockout round, until now. That second goal in the final, his 13th overall in World Cups, pushed him past Pelé. And for all that, he was named player of the tournament. When the final whistle blew and Messi finally lifted the World Cup, draped in a golden bish, it felt like the end of a story that had taken over a decade to write. The boy from Rosario had conquered it all. The missing piece was finally his. He would go on to win his 8th Ballon d'Or, and now there's no more debate. Messi didn't just match Maradona. He passed him. Unlike Diego, who shone brightest in one glorious month in 1986, Messi did it year after year, for club and country. But in Qatar, he finally had that one magical month too. The story of Lionel Messi at the 2022 World Cup wasn't just about greatness. It was about legacy, the kind that cannot be questioned, rewritten, or surpassed. He is the GOAT.